Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show on the iNETrepreneur Network. I am your host, Donna Guinouard, and I am super excited that you joined us here today because we have three incredible guests today. And our show is actually a little bit of a special show today. It's about how brick and mortar businesses are surviving through COVID-19. So that's going to be an incredible show, and I'm excited to share it with you. But before we get into all that, I need three things from you. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and to network or bookmark all your networking activities at Network Together at ntevents.net. And like us on our Facebook page. The iNETrepreneur Network is where entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers, and experts come together to talk about their challenges and their triumphs, their impact and their tragedy. So let's get behind their stories and learn from their perspiration to their inspiration. I'm excited because I am joined by none other today than Robert W. Jones, who is the founder and chairman of Network Together. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Donna, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. So excited to be here again.
You know, I'm excited to be here again as well. And you know what I'm really excited to announce today is that we have today, and you and I talked about it a little bit before the show, is we have a magazine that's come out today. So is that exciting? Or we have our iNETrepreneur magazine coming out. We're about ready to send it out through our CRM system with our own Kimberly Miner on the cover. So we're really excited.
So do you have a copy of that to show the folks?
Yeah, I have a copy of it right here. So this is the iNETrepreneur magazine with Kimberly Miner on the front cover. So we're really excited. And
it is full of great articles from people who've contributed. And
yep, we have Mark Victor Hansen's in here.
Yes.
We have Joe Vitale in here. Our education chairperson, Katie Evans, is in here. Ingrid Catal is in here. So a lot of great, members of the Network Together community. Some known, some that you may not know. So, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You can contact me at robert@networktogether.net.
Awesome. I am super excited about that. So we have a couple other little tidbits of information to pass around. We've just opened up one of our in-person networking meetings, correct?
Yeah, we've actually opened up 2 in-person networking because, it is all about networking in person. Our Mesa Central chapter located on Sossaman and Baseline just opened up this Wednesday. I was honored enough to be able to attend and participate, and we had a full room. We're practicing our social distancing. This morning we opened up in person our Queen Creek chapter. Queen Creek chapter is located at Ellsworth and Ocotillo at Third Place Cup. Sean was running that chapter meeting today. She said it was another full house, and we're just excited to get together in person again. Doesn't take away virtual meetings. We can still meet virtually, but now we can also meet in person. And that's what we do. We network in person and create those relationships and connections.
Absolutely. And just for everyone to know that we do have several other chapters that will be continuing to open up in person in the next several weeks.
Yeah, and and lastly, I just want to mention today we always have a mastermind between 1 and 2 each week on Thursday before the radio show. We had a full house today in the mastermind. It is such a great way. Today we talked about influence and what are the factors that lead to a person's influence or a company's influence, and some of the ways that you can create more influence by just doing simple little tasks each and every time that you connect with others. So
little tweaks.
Mastermind. But today, Donna, it looks like we have a great lineup for our show.
We do, and I'm excited to get to them and introduce them and talk about how they have survived the COVID-19 as a brick and mortar.
Absolutely, and what they're doing to level up. So with no further ado, let's do it, Donna. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited. I have none other than Dr. Levi Nelson. Levi, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. It's good to be
Welcome,
here.
Levi. I am so excited that you took time out of your schedule to be here with us today.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I love the show. I love what you guys do. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you. Well, listen, Levi, before I begin, I like to brag about my guests a little bit. So I'm going to go right into bragging about Levi. So Levi is a chiropractor for 8 years, and he has over 60,000 adjustments under his belt. Okay, that is awesome. And he is with Begin Within Family Wellness Center in Scottsdale, right off of
Yep.
Indian School.
Yep, down here in Old Town.
Okay, awesome. Levi also comes from a family of plumbers and knows all the ins and outs and of plumbing and how to do that. He is also an Arizona native. He has been married for 14 years and is the proud father of 6 children. Awesome. Well, that's exciting. So, okay, you're an Arizona native. You know, we don't have too many of those around. I think that's the case when really within each and any state, there's so many people who move nowadays. So tell us, where were you exactly raised?
So I was raised in East Mesa and Gilbert.
Okay.
I was born down in Tucson. My father's from a town called Bisbee in southern Arizona, where his father and grandfather were miners down there. And the whole family came during the old Tombstone days. So we've been in here over 100 years.
Nice, nice. That's exciting. And I know you speak Spanish as well, correct?
Yep, I do. It comes in handy,
that is
helping people.
absolutely terrific for you. So, okay, so you didn't start out in the first portion of your adult life as a chiropractor, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I worked for UPS for 4.5 years, and I was slinging boxes, and it's just not the best on the back, especially if you have a bad back. And so that led me to chiropractic, where I got help, and I decided to be a chiropractor so I could help others.
Right. I love that. And so you've been a chiropractor 8 years now. Oh my goodness, I'm not 100% sure. So help me out here. I know isn't it like 8 years of schooling to become a chiropractor? Yeah.
It is 8
years.
It's a doctorate degree.
Right, right. Okay, so that's no easy feat. And obviously you have 6 children. So am I right that you had some of those children while you were going to school?
Yeah, 2 of them, in fact, when I was in chiropractic school, which is
that
not
made
easy.
it even a little
amazing wife that helped me got through that. So she takes a lot of the credit for how the kids are turning out. She did a good job.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it takes a village, right?
It does.
Takes a village, whether it's in your own house or your extended family or whatever, but it does take a village. I have 3 grown children of my own, so I was a single mom for many, many, many years, all of their teenage years. So yeah, I understand what it takes to raise those children and to keep them going in the right path. So that is fabulous. So okay, so you went in because you wanted to help people. And have you always been in the same facility you are now, Begin Within Family Wellness?
I've only been here a year in this office. I worked in New Jersey originally, and I was in Idaho a brief time, and then back in Arizona at other clinics. So I've been here, but this is where my passion is. I really love the office. It's congruent with who I am and the way I want to help people.
And explain. See, I have the privilege of knowing you. You happen to belong to my Scottsdale chapter of Network Together. And so I know you, but for the people out there who don't know you yet, Levi, kind of explain how you go about helping them. What makes you a little bit different than another chiropractor?
Good. So chiropractic in general, we help get the body moving if someone has joints that are stuck or a lot of pains or aches. But beyond that, if their body's just not working right, if they're not as healthy or energetic, and that's chiropractic. But what I focus on is upper cervical, which means injuries of the top of your neck. Most doctors and practitioners overlook that part, and I specialize in that part, and that's how I get great results, because I'm looking for things that other people are missing.
I love that. I love that. Well, today is really a very exciting show. It's a special show for us here at the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show, because we really wanted to talk about brick and mortar businesses surviving during COVID-19, and how you have leveled up in your business. And of course, right when we get out of, COVID-19, now we're into this other horrific situation. So how have you survived this during COVID-19? What were some of the key things you did to level up your business?
Very good question. We were hit pretty hard, like a lot of people, but fortunately we were able to stay open. But what we did when the traffic stopped coming in is we looked inside, and we started making our systems better. We were taking care of our current clients better. We saw that what we could do to help people want to stay and want to be here. So that's the first thing we did, is we upped our game. We became more organized and better directed towards their needs. Meaning a lot of people were afraid to come in. So what we decided to do was space out their appointments so they weren't back to back, so people could come in and have that space and that comfort and that security. We cleaned the beds or the tables before and after every person to make them once again feel more comfortable in our office. And anyone that was sick or showing any symptoms, we wouldn't let in. So we made it very safe and sanitary and secure. We saw some people during lunch or before office hours or after if they weren't comfortable being in the building when other people were here. So we did a lot to cater to the needs of the people that were here. And that's the main thing we did, is we didn't have a lot of people coming in, so we had to take care of those that were here.
I love that. I love that. And I have no doubt that security that they felt, that safety net with your facility, helped them, and they had no hesitation making their next appointment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, we were very flexible with them.
Great. And then after this started, did you start to see a little bit more of an increase of people coming in?
Yeah, we actually did. So kind of a funny story. Google had us marked as closed for the first 3 weeks. And so people didn't know that we were here. But once we changed that, a lot of people injured themselves sitting at home, doing things they didn't normally do, doing yard work, deep cleaning their garage.
Redoing a bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually had this spike where we saw people, after they've been sitting home for a while, start to want to come in. And so it's slowly but surely been building up again. I
love that. Now that the ban has mostly lifted here in Arizona, what has the increase been? Is your business back to full bore, or?
About 75%. We went down to 25% or so. We're about 75% at this point. So
that's really good considering we've just opened up.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good.
And part of it is excellence, just making sure that we take care of everybody's needs to the best of our ability every single time, so that they'll want to come back. So a lot of it is returning business, but we've had a lot of new business, as I said, as well.
I love that. And then Levi, you, just so everyone knows, you work on, of course, adults, but you also work on teenagers and children too, correct?
Yeah. Newborn infants are the youngest I've seen. I adjusted my son when he was 4 hours old. I see lots of little kiddos that fall off things, bang their head. Kids that have trouble with earaches or energy issues, or just uncomfortable. I had a kid come in today that got beat up in a jiu-jitsu match, and we had to piece him back together. So life just happens, and sometimes we get stuck. So people come here to get unstuck.
It does. And, if I could, I'd like to interject something. So in my second and my third child, I had them adjusted when they were about a week old. And what it was all my kids had colic. And with my firstborn, I had no idea what it was. And of course, part of that's a trauma of being born, right? Everything's all kind of squished.
Yeah.
Is the best way to politely put it. Everything's squished. And so once they were adjusted, literally, I remember the chiropractor in Washington pressing on his belly and, oh my gosh, crying. And then as soon as the adjustment was done, no more cries. It was gone. And I didn't know with my firstborn. And so I thought he just had his days and nights mixed up. And no, it was colic. But, you know, being a first-time mom, you don't know everything, right?
Yeah, and that's hard position to be in when you're a first-time mother, because you don't know what to do, and your baby sounds like your baby's broken and screaming, and you're not sleeping best. It's hard. It's really hard.
It is, and you want to do everything right. You want to do everything right. And, you know, and I love the fact that you work with children, because my youngest daughter also, when she was probably about 18 months old, was going to the chiropractor with me in Dodge City, Kansas. And I noticed that her right leg, she was walking kind of funny. And so I said, could you take a look at her? Something doesn't seem right. And her hip was twisted a little bit up into the socket. And she was starting to get it to that point where had we not caught it, she would have had to been in a leg brace to straighten her out.
That's not fun.
No. So, you know, that's something else that, you know, those are some of the other things that you can do, correct?
Correct. The saying I like is, the twig is bent, so grows the tree. So if you think about a little sapling that's planted, you brace it, you train it, you make sure that it grows up straight. Same thing with kids. They don't necessarily have to have problems for me to work on them. It's just good to get a checkup like you would go to the dentist, just to make sure things are growing correctly. Right.
And how often would you recommend that?
Oh, when they're kids, just like going to the dentist. Just like
once every 6 months?
Yep. Just to make sure everything is properly, just a wellness check.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, I'm a big believer in chiropractic. I kind of need it to keep going.
Me too. I think we all do.
The older I get, the more I need it. But I love now that it's not I had an aneurysm, so I have a clip in my head. So I can never have that old school adjustment where they pop your neck like that.
Yeah.
So I have to be done on the table, the drop table for my neck.
Yep, and that's how we do in our office. We have a very gentle approach in our office.
Yes, and that's really important. So to not be scared of going to see Dr. Levi, folks, because the gentleness it's just a little bit of pressure, and that's about it. Great. Well, I have a question for you, Dr. Levi.
Absolutely.
So, you know, as an entrepreneur, we don't always wake up in the morning just great mood. You know, the kids are perfect every day. You know, the dog didn't drool the water all over the floor, right? It isn't always just a great day. Sometimes we wake up kind of grumpy. You know, what do you do to pull yourself out of that?
That question. So I have a power hour every single morning. I take time every single morning to make sure that my day is right. What I mean is I wake up and I exercise. I get moving. I get the energy going. And then on my way to work, I don't listen to the news. I listen to classical music, because for me, that puts my mind in the right set, my mindset, to help take care of people. Because if I'm angry, then people won't like me very much when I'm working on them. I don't want my aggressions to come out to them. So in my business, I have to be the best. Even if I'm having a hard day, I've got to quickly change that. And what I found is exercise and eating a good breakfast and listening to good music is the best way to change my energy.
I love that. I love that. As a high energy performance coach, I tell my clients that same thing. Find what works for you to get your mojo going. So one other quick question. What do you do, Levi, when you take off your entrepreneurial hat, what do you do to recharge that battery so that you can come back to your clients ready to go and excited and ready to work on them?
Thank you. That's a good question as well. I like to be out in nature. I like to hike and walk around. Even if I'm in the city, even if I'm just in my backyard, I like to look at my orange trees. I just find when I'm close to nature, I feel reconnected. So any place I can go to be in nature, even if it's in the city, that's where I'm going to unwind and decompress and get ready again for the rest of the time. And family time as well. I love my kids. I love my wife. And we have a good time. We have a lot of fun. It's a little crazy, but we have a lot of fun.
I love it. I love it. Well, perfect. Well, Levi, tell everybody, you have a special, do you not?
Yes, I do. So coming up on Saturday, the 20th, right before Father's Day, we're having a Father's Day special where you can come on into our office and get an evaluation. If we can see if we can help you. And it's completely complimentary. If you need x-rays, we can take those as well. But we want to make sure that you're doing okay. What I've found as a father, if I'm out of alignment, or if I'm stressed, or if I'm suffering, or if I'm especially in pain, I'm not a very happy person, which means my kids aren't happy and my wife's not happy. So I find when I get taken care of and I take care of myself properly, then I can be happy again and they can be happy. It affects everything, and not just me. It affects our entire family and life.
It does. It does. That's an incredible special. Is that just for fathers, or is that for anybody?
Well, that is just for Father's Day.
Yep.
But we will extend it to any members of this group that want to come in. But that's on the 20th. Okay.
What an incredible offer. I really appreciate that you gave that out, because that's huge. That's going to help a lot of people. So anybody who has not yet gone and met Dr. Levi and has not seen him, this is your chance to do so. And I highly recommend it. Levi, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're very welcome. It was an honor.
Folks, is Dr. Levi not the sweetest man ever? Oh my goodness. And he is an incredible chiropractic. So you absolutely need to take advantage of his special on the 20th of this month. Okay, my next guest I am so excited to introduce is Cathyn Curcio of Desert Breeze Glass. Hi, Kat.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and being here on the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show with me.
My pleasure.
So before we begin, Kat, I really like to brag a little bit about my guests. So of course, Kat is the owner of Desert Breeze Glass, which she started in 2001, ladies and gentlemen. This is incredible. You have been a business owner, what, for 30 years?
I started my company over 19 years ago, and I've been in the industry over 30.
Over 30. Okay, that's where I had them switched. Okay. In her previous life, now this is pretty cool. Kat worked for Motown Records as well as Warner Brother Records. She is one of 6 children in her family and is the first in her family to be an entrepreneur. How awesome is that?
It's great. My sister now is an entrepreneur. She's opened now 2 restaurants since my opening.
Fabulous. Yeah, look, you little trend starter, you.
So proud of her.
That is awesome. Yes, congratulate her for us as well. So tell us, okay, so you started out in the record industry. What made you decide to leave the record industry and open up Desert Breeze Glass?
That's always a question I get asked, because this is a male-oriented industry. I am actually listed with the city of Phoenix as a women-owned business and a disadvantaged business, because this is a male-oriented industry. When I lived in Detroit, I worked for Motown. My claim to fame was when I gave Marvin Gaye a tour of our plant, he gave me a kiss after the tour. So,
oh, how cool.
And then it was just really bad in Detroit. You know, there wasn't any money, nothing was moving. So I left there in '83 and went to California, and I worked for Warner Brothers. And as most people know, the traffic there is horrendous. And Dr. Levi was like one of my best friends because I was involved in a head-on collision, a T-bone, and a rollover in 5 years. And personally, my body could not take another hit. So I loaded up a truck, I didn't know even where I was going. I just knew I couldn't live in California, and ended up in Phoenix in 1990. And that was the first year it hit 122 degrees. And I remember going, what kind of idiots live here? I had no intention of staying. But my first year was real bad. It was real hot. And then, the next year I was like, this isn't bad. And now, I've been here 30 plus years. I love it. I'm not going anywhere else. But then how I got in this industry was there was Canyon Records. That was the only record label here at that time. And it was a tiny little record label. And it was such a change from where I was. I knew I couldn't be happy and, have the passion I had. So a glass company offered me a decent paying job. And I was really thinking, God, I'm 35 years old and I'm selling windshields. Oh, this is funny. Had no intention of staying, but here I've been in 30 years.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So I would, I have the honor, folks, of knowing Kat as part of Network Together. But I would like you to go into a little bit of detail, because oftentimes I think when you're known as a glass company, you're stereotyped. Just a windshield, right? Just a glass. But you do so much more. Tell everybody what all that you can do.
If you can think it, we can fab it, pretty much. I mean, we've done tabletops for jet engines, for aerospace companies. We've built showers that are just absolutely stunning. I mean, most of the stuff I've built is better than what I own. But I'm not an engineer. I can't design those things. I can't think of it. But it's really anything that you can fab, we can make. I mean, but
like one of the things that I found fascinating that I did not know, and I think it's really important to point out, and I'm really pumped about this. Kat will do, oh goodness, help me out. What are they called? The window, the shade coverings for your windows, so not so much heat comes in.
Yeah, we do solar and bug screens. If you don't have the money to replace your windows, that's a great alternative to saving money. I just did that to one of my rentals, and the tenant said, oh my God, the difference is so much. So yeah, if you don't have the time or the money to, upgrade your windows, that's a great solution.
Right. Well, I have upgraded windows. I mean, they're practically brand new. They're double pane, and the west window in the family room still gets a pounding from the afternoon sun. So when I found out that you do sunscreens, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll help a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I think that's important to point out. So we're excited about this show today because really I wanted to focus a little bit on brick and mortar businesses, Kat, surviving during COVID-19, because it affected everybody. And everybody had to level up a little bit. What did you do to keep going and level up your business?
Well, first day, we all got in a huddle and we prayed and we said, what are we going to do as a team? I can't do this alone. I can only do so much. So my technicians, my customer service, my managers, we all sat down and said, how are we going to get through this? I mean, I'm responsible for a lot of people's paychecks and a lot of families, and that's a lot of pressure on me. I don't want them to have to lose anything they've worked for all these years. And what we saw happening was very scary. And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about what happened. And we would go down, we'd go up, but we never gave up. We always strived to do one thing better than we did yesterday.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What kind of plan did you have in place to keep customers comfortable during the pandemic?
For auto glass, we pretty much told the customer, just leave your vehicle parked in the driveway, unlocked, crack your windows, we'll come in, we'll do what we need to do, we'll wipe things down, we'll leave, everything will be billed electronics. If we were coming into your home or business, we want you to open up the door, we'll come in, we'll go to our designated area, we'll replace, repair whatever we're doing, wipe down, you open your door, and we're out of here. So, we're coming in with masks, gloves, and all that, just, trying to minimize exposure.
Right. And did you find that people were more comfortable with you doing that inside their businesses and or homes, being able to provide that kind of PPE?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first started figuring out how we're going to do this, because, I'm afraid, I'm older, I've got valley fever, I'm a high risk person. So I'm working out of home. Well, my office is full steam running. The first week of COVID, we put in over 18 windshields for 18-wheelers that deliver our supplies to the stores. We were securing buildings from looters. We're an essential business and we have to help these people. We did, our sales did go down for all the luxury things we were bidding on prior to COVID. People were upgrading and, right now they're on hold. Everybody's saying, keep my orders, keep it, just wait till this is over so I know if I'm getting a paycheck next week.
Right. And unfortunately, that's the sad reality is that so many people are in a situation where they're not getting a full paycheck. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I want to commend you for being able to keep everybody going in your business. That's a huge, huge accomplishment, Kat. I mean, I know a lot of people, we all have heard it, have had to furlough people because of what's going on.
I would go off payroll before I'd furlough an employee. Right.
And so when you do an install, like on a windshield, do they come to us? Do we bring it to you? How's that work?
We have a shop in Mesa. We prefer to come mobile because your windshield is part of the structural integrity of your vehicle. And we would like it to sit for at least an hour after we're done. And with all the stores being closed, there's really not a whole lot to do. So we kind of were just like, we can't entertain you for an hour, so it's like, and actually we're really trying to minimize people coming into our office too. We have signs on our doors saying, call or text when you arrive. We're sending an employee out with a mask. And if we're doing a chip repair out in the parking lot, we'll do that. If they're dropping off something they want us to fabricate, we'll take it. We're really trying to keep their stuff outside and our stuff inside.
Well, yeah, it just protects everybody that way. It protects everybody. What are some of the most common things? Let's just take a windshield. I would say that's probably one of the most common things that you do. What are the common things that you can tell everybody listening what to look for in the windshield that is going to be a potential problem, other than the obvious, a big rock hits it and, does the big old hole in your windshield that big?
So there's 11 million windshields thrown in our landfills a year. Arizona is the highest contributor. Look at our landscape. It's all granite. So my thing is, don't tailgate. When you see trucks out there dropping debris, get away from them. They're not only breaking your windshield, they're damaging your paint. So if you do get a chip on your windshield, especially right now during the heat, to minimize it from spreading or cracking, crack your windows, roll them down while your car's parked. When you're driving, you can put it up, you're fine. But when it's sitting there stationary, that heat builds up in the cabin area, the glass will expand and split. If you have a chip, don't put those little sun visors up against the glass. That'll expand the glass and split it. So we're trying to minimize replacing them. I know people don't want to do that, but you're going to get hit. I just had my windshield replaced, and within 2 weeks, I had it busted again. So it happens. So
welcome to your own world, right?
And I don't have glass coverage because it's a commercial vehicle.
I love it. Listen, I want to ask you, as an entrepreneur, Kat, we don't you know, we don't wake up and the whole day just smells like roses and it's always perfect and everything is just, you know, fairy dust and glitter. What, you know, we wake up in sometimes some pretty rotten moods and things just aren't going real good. What do you do on days like that to get yourself in a better place?
Well, I think everybody that knows me knows my son. I have a son who's quadriplegic. He has cerebral palsy and also nonverbal. And he graduated from Corona del Sol here in Chandler. He's got a little bit of college. He's writing a book. When I start waking up and I'm feeling slump, I just look at my son's picture and he fills my heart. If you're thinking down in your dumps, you know, like 2 weeks ago, I was visiting him through a Zoom call. And I said, I still got to go to the bank. I still got to do this. And I was just complaining about all the stuff I still had to do. And he goes, Mom, you get to. Think about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Think about it. If that doesn't motivate you to say, yeah. So, you know, I'll never forget those words. And he stopped me in my tracks. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's
as a high energy performance coach, I always tell my clients, find that one spot, find that one thing that is your peace area. That brings your heart and just literally fills you with happiness and just stay there for as long as you can to get that energy back up. I love this. I love that. And you're right. Your son is absolutely 100% correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He is. So one other thing I have to ask you, what do you do, Kat, when you take off your little entrepreneurial hat to recharge your battery so that you can come back as the owner, as, you know, in charge of many people, to make sure that product's going right, that you're in a good place and you're ready to help the clients, but also help the people who work for you? What do you do to recharge?
Kind of like Dr. Levi, I am outside. I love my outdoors. And anybody that's been in my backyard say, this is like a luxury paradise. I mean, my backyard is absolutely beautiful. And I've got misters, I hang out in my backyard all year. It is so beautiful back there. It recharges me. And then, you know, when I go into work, I share that and we all talk to each other and motivate each other and, you know, power up each other because there's so much going on right now and there's so much negativity that, you know, we have to do that because it's constantly around us right now.
It is. I tell my clients, as a high energy coach, I tell them you have to find your ROE, return on energy, because if you don't have that energy return, you're going to be depleted. Exactly. You're going to be depleted and nothing else will work in your life because everything can be great here. But if your energy is down here, you're out of balance. So exactly. I'm like you, I'm in my backyard all the time. I've got a pool. My boyfriend says, Donna, how can you sit out here? It's hot. I'm like, I got a nice little fan going. I'm good. I got the pool.
Yeah, exactly. You jump in, you're wet. You just, it is beautiful out there. And it's, you know, quiet. I get up, I get up between 4 and 5 every morning. I don't even know how to set an alarm. I sit in my backyard, drink my coffee and just, you know, plan my day and what's going to happen.
Oh, you and I are so alike. We are so alike. I love it. I love it. Well, Kat, tell everybody real quick, the quickest way for them to get a hold of you for their glass needs.
Our office number is 480-752-8191. Or if you want to email us any plans, diagrams, sizes you have, it's support@desertbreezeglass.com.
Kat, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show today and help us get ideas for everybody out there who's a brick and mortar, and even those of us who are just a single entrepreneur.
Put your glass needs at ease with Desert Breeze.
I love it. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you so much.
Was Kat not wonderful? So I have the honor, of course, of knowing her, and she's extremely reliable and very heart-centered, as you can tell. So if you have any issues of glass, of the nature of glass, absolutely see Kat at Desert Breeze. So folks, our next guest, I'm very excited, is none other than Mark Tomasello. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Donna? Good.
Wonderful. Welcome to the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the invitation.
Well, we're excited to have you. So before I begin, Mark, I like to take a few moments and brag about my guests. So Mark is the corporate catering manager as well as the marketing coordinator for every location of Venezia's Pizza. And he's been in this position for over 20 years. He's had 40 years experience in the restaurant industry. And Mark, before Venezia's, was a managing partner in a quick style Italian restaurant in Glendale for what, 10 years?
Yep, for approximately 10 years. One correction, I've been in the role at Venezia's for 4 years.
Oh,
For
okay.
4 years, yeah.
Okay. So I met Mark, of course, through Network Together, and it was actually right after I moved back to the Valley. I'd been gone for 25 years and joined Network Together, and and then Mark had catered in pizza and wings, and I was like, these are the best wings I've ever had.
Thank you.
I love your wings. So you've been in the industry for over 40 years.
Correct.
Okay, are you from Arizona, Mark?
No, actually, originally I was born in Buffalo, New York. And I came out here in the early 80s, finished up some schooling, had some family that was living out here at the time. It was an opportunity as a young adult to kind of see a different part of the country. I'd never been really west of the Mississippi, so it was a very positive initial experience, and then eventually through work met my wife and started our family, and kind of just decided that Phoenix was going to be home for a while.
Well, originally I'm from Montana. Before I moved back to Arizona this last time, I spent almost 16 years in Central Ohio, where I've seen winters at 45 below. And I'm sure you're like me. You don't miss shoveling snow, do you?
No, it's only beautiful to look at when you don't have to function in it.
Right, and it's not ice.
Yeah.
Let's see, from October to April.
Yeah.
And Buffalo gets really nasty. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your first beginning in the food industry.
Well, I first started when I was in high school. I've always had jobs associated with the food industry and customer service in general, and then kind of gravitated towards the Italian and pizza side of the food industry, and kind of worked for pizzerias and different things like that, and found it to be quite accommodating to my school schedule, and I really enjoyed it. And I just, one of the joys of being in the food industry is seeing, what that does to your customers, and the highest compliment somebody can give you is to tell you, like you mentioned, I really love your wings, and
Right.
the food that you served them has given them enjoyment. So that's real rewarding for me.
Absolutely. I'm a big cook here at home. We don't eat out a whole bunch, and it sounds like you kind of feel like I do. That's one of the ways I show love.
Yeah.
And I love breaking bread with people, make a big dinner, and, whether it's Italian or just roast beef and mashed potatoes or what have you.
Yeah. Good
I
old
love
comfort food.
Yes, I love that. So how many locations of Venezia's are there in the Valley?
So currently we have 5 Valley locations. We have our original location in Tempe at Southern and Mill. And then we have our location in Gilbert, Ray, and Cooper. And we have 2 in Mesa, one in East Mesa at Ellsworth and Guadalupe. And then what we call our North Mesa store, which is Higley and McKellips. And then we have a North Phoenix store, roughly is at Tatum and Greenway.
Okay, and then so you kind of do the corporate marketing.
Yeah, so a lot of us do a lot of different things at Venezia's, including our owner Dominic, who still involves himself in the day-to-day operations of each of his locations. So we at times I help out with operations, and then we all we'll congregate back here at the corporate office, and we'll do necessary administrative duties that we have. Also, I field all the incoming requests from pre pandemic corporate catering and different things like that. So we keep ourselves very busy, and that's the way we kind of like it. So yeah.
So you brought up one of my next questions, and that's why I think this show, I was really excited to have you 3 on here, because you're all brick and mortar, but you're completely different businesses, right? And so so it gives a real kind of meat and bones, if you will, of the different sides of every business. So as we went through COVID-19 and this pandemic, everybody, of course, had to pivot in a New York minute. What did you guys do at Venezia's to do damage control, keep your employees, and keep going?
So I guess initially, we make a determination as a group. All of our store managers are invested in the businesses that they operate. So we got on a conference call, and we kind of talked through some things on how we were going to operate. Obviously, the initial pivot was to move everything from people that were used to dining in our restaurants to a takeout and or delivery role. So we quickly came up with an operation tactic of how we were going to do curbside delivery. In other words, people that wanted to get out of the house, come to our locations, would pull up in the parking lot, and then we would have actual runners that were outside of our buildings that would tend to them at the car, kind of like the thought of the old car hop, where
I was just thinking that
you're servicing and the guest at their car. So we did that initially, and that through some trial and error, and as it goes, we tweaked it, and we got real efficient with it. Once you get over the fact that we shortly found out that this was going to be something to where to succeed, you were going to have to be willing to work harder for possibly less, but to maintain as much of the business as you could, and then kind of keep your ear to the ground as to what the public was wanting, and what was going to be socially acceptable.
Right. Then what met the public's needs.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the way we operated, for the first few months. And then, once we got the governor's decree of, they were going to start opening up again, then that just presented another set of challenges, because we had to figure out how we would operate the interior of the restaurant at a 50% capacity, along with all, maintaining all the see
Right.
guidelines of social distancing and so forth and so on. So then that takes us, to another, another thought process again, where we involved our whole staff and to try and talk through the systems that we were going to put in place to be successful.
Right. I love that. I love that. So obviously, we're back open and all your buildings are open, correct?
Correct. All of our restaurants are open as of right now. Yes.
Perfect.
So yeah.
I love that. Well, I have a question, Mark. I like to ask all my guests this. What do you do when you wake up in the morning? And as an entrepreneur, business owner, we're not always perfect. We're not always full of joy and giggles for the day. Sometimes we just have some rotten days. What do you do to change that when you wake up in kind of a bad mood so you can get on track?
Well, I don't know that it's something I do to get out of a bad mood, but what I found that I would say this is probably over the course of the last 4 or 5 years is I just established this routine of, getting a workout in every morning. So I do a boot camp style workout most mornings. So I try to, I'm up by about 5:30 a.m. and then I'm usually at the camp by about 6:10, 6:15. That seems to kind of set the day. I get the blood going and get oxygen to your brain and get my workout in. And also, you when you go to some of these organized types of workouts, you tend to see the same people. So you become friendly with another group of people and you get a little of that social interaction along with your exercise. So that
Absolutely.
kind of the way I like to start my days now.
I love that. I love that. I call it as an energy coach, high energy performance coaching. I tell my clients it's your ROE, it's your return on energy. Yes. So find that spot that works for you. So one last question: what do you do, Mark, when you take off your entrepreneurial hat? What do you do to recharge so you can come back really fresh? Just in a couple quick sentences.
So, because we tend to work, long hours in this business, and we tend to be pretty busy, I like to spend off time with family and friends. Also, I like to do, outdoors things. I have a daughter that lives in Flagstaff and attends NAU. We go up and visit her as often as we can. Also, recently, my wife and I have kind of been interested in doing, some kayaking. So we've been experimenting with that as of late.
I love kayaking.
Yeah, and so, but for the most part, it's just, it's just spending time with friends and family.
I love that. I love that. It's important to go to that place to get your energy renewed so that you can be the best in what you do. And I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being on the show and giving people some ideas of what Venantius did to, endure the shutdown of COVID-19.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mark.
All right, Donna. You have a great afternoon.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Wow. We had 3 amazing guests on, and what a show. Robert, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Donna. Wow.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. Some of the things you really brought out a lot of just, what the pivots were for each business and, how they still, no matter what was going on in their own lives, really, professionally, and wondering if business was still going to stay there, looking at their pivots and looking about how they care about, their clients, like Dr. Nelson said, we're going to go inward and we're just going to double down on how we care about our current client base. Kat was
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Kat was like,
Yeah.
when we're out there, we're going to make sure that, we protect everyone we serve. They're going to have our masks. It's going to be clean. It's going to be an environment unlike any others. And then you got to Mark, and, it's the same way. He talked about the CDC. He talked about, what were they going to do? But even more than that, it wasn't just a top-down approach. They involved all of their management teams to come together and say, how are we going to go forward?
Right. We're in this together, and we're in it to win it. So what are we going to do?
Absolutely. And, and what I like is each one of them, I know they work long hours, and I know that they go the extra mile. In learning about, like, what is their morning start like? What do they do to maintain and increase energy? And it's like, it's the working out, it's the outdoors, it's just, breathing in that fresh air that just creates, that extra energy that
it creates their return on energy.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly what you do, Donna. And, on all three of them, I mean, they were like, what? It's just, sometimes you have to go out and get away to come back and be in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought it was interesting, the 3 different businesses and hearing the different things they did, but it was still centered around their clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, each and every one of them. And, we had Dr. Levi who handles chiropractic and and has a whole team that's in with, like, kind of a holistic almost approach to like healthcare. You have Kat. I mean, Kat, we've worked with her. She's replaced my wife's windshield. She's replaced my shield. They've been knowing each other for a very long time. And, Kat is like, it's like, call Desert Breeze, I mean, it's like, yeah, just call Kat because she's just a cool cat, And then, of course, Mark, I always, my thing is for the longest time, I thought, okay, New York style pizza was like the best. Then all of a sudden they started doing these cauliflower pizzas. And now it's like the thing that I like to go out to order is, a salad and a cauliflower pizza. I'm happy. So, I mean, what an incredible guest today, Donna.
It was. What an honor to interview each and every one of them, Robert.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Robert. Well, folks, we are at the end of our show, and I hope you enjoyed having the guests today that we had on, Dr. Levi, Kat, and Mark, 3 incredible brick and mortar businesses who gave us an insight of what they did to really dig down when they didn't have a choice during COVID-19, so that they could still serve their clientele in the best way possible. I can't wait for you to join us next week. We are in for a really special show, and I look forward to seeing you all then. Stay safe and have a great weekend, everybody.